Hey guys, this is John. Welcome to the free video, and let's just take a quick look. A couple of things that I really like here going into the weekend. First, Netflix. I'll tell you a little bit more about this trade and how we found it here in a second. Look at the volume coming in this, closing at new all-time highs. We've got earnings on Wednesday. So I'm looking for kind of a spike into Wednesday. And then, of course, we'll definitely be playing the earnings on Wednesday, as that'll be a lot of fun. The other one is Tesla. The short squeeze continues to go. And these kind of moves are fantastic. And I'm going to talk a little bit again on this and how we find these kind of trades. But at the end of the day now, is at this point, is the stock market ready to take a break or not? Well, the S&Ps, they keep kind of vacillating back and forth, but ultimately that's bullish, right? But nothing's happened here. There's no strong momentum. But if we go and we look at the NASDAQ, we can see here that while on a daily perspective, you can see here that we got a little bit of a squeeze here. I just don't really count those one dot squeezes, but you can see here that all the waves here are cruising and we're rocking along here. But it's like the question is like, gosh, isn't this extended? But if we look at the weekly chart, the weekly squeeze is just now firing off. So kind of keep that in mind. This market, I've talked to a lot of people who are just suddenly very nervous about this market. I see that as a good thing. Anytime there's a market going higher and a lot of people don't believe it, it tends to just keep going higher. And so I'm looking for that to kind of continue as well. Okay, and so it's just important to keep that in mind and what's going on there. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. And then we can take a look at some of the setups here. One of the best trades so far this year has been Tesla. And this Tesla move was from about here to here. It doesn't look like a big move, but that was a solid, 7 points with options. So it was a 100% gain in the options, and I had extra confidence to take a larger position in the trade. So the question is why? Well, if you look at what I would call my normal setup, okay, there's no real squeezes here. I don't do the one dot squeezes. And if you look at the RAF signal, there was no clear direction here, right? And if you look at the MTF, yeah, there was positive and then, air, positive and air. So based on this, which by the way, I'm also doing setups on this year, and they've been working solid, and we'll talk about that. But this particular setup, the best trade that I've done of the year so far, this series of indicators and setups didn't catch it. Okay, it didn't spot it, didn't alert me. So then we come over here and we look at this and say, okay, what alerted me to this? Well, then the correlation breakout. So Tesla just broke out above and beyond all of these other correlations, and that's just kind of a heads up as to like, look, something special is going on here, and that means that this is going to continue to move. And when you have something like this happening, overbought and oversold become irrelevant. So then you just stay in until you get, in this case, the credit scalper alert. So if that makes sense. And so part of the class that I'm going to be doing Saturday, the Saturday class includes this, and then the live trading includes this, it includes this, and it includes this. So the next question is what are those important? So from there, and then the third best trade I've done this year, and well, let me show you where I'm getting the data. So this is just a screenshot from the trades this year so far. So the Tesla trade was the best one. The Netflix trade has been an earlier Netflix trade has been the third best one. Now this one was from the tax loss selling class, so that was a different setup. But now let's go back and take a look. So for Netflix, if we look at what I would call a normal setup, it's kind of similar. All right, you got, okay, here's a move here, but there's no squeezes, and this is all over the place. And you do have some gaps in kind of the MTF, which means it doesn't really, set up the idea of buying and holding this thing. Well, if you come over here, boom, correlation spike gives you a heads up that this is going to go, and you get out when you get the credit sniper sell. So this is one of the setups that I've been liking this year, and it's working very consistently. And it's pinpointed what I would call these out of the blue moves that don't set up on a normal chart. And a lot of the times these out of the blue violent moves with conviction don't set up with a nice perfect squeeze. Okay, and nothing against squeezes, they're amazing in normal market conditions. When we get that outlier and something weird's happening behind the scenes, you don't know what it is, this is the chart that you use. And as an example here, I mean, this is Google. So Google's a normal trade that I did. So we had here's a squeeze, great, ready, aim, fire. And this has been great, and that's been perfect. And so, and this is, and what's great about this is if you come over here and look at the correlation, there's no outlier. So you can see that there's nothing wrong. It's not about to fall apart either. Like sometimes we saw examples where it was below all the correlations, which means impending doom, and we don't have that. So it's just reassuring us that nothing crazy is happening and that this setup will be fine. And then last but not least, just a quick example from Thursday when the markets were going nuts. So here the S&Ps were selling off pretty hard, right? And then all of a sudden they just bottomed and then rallied really hard. And this setup actually didn't do too bad of a job, but I want to show you something that's really interesting. So first of all, yes, we got the MTF. It was selling. There was even a squeeze. When it bottomed out here, it was a little spotty, like is this going to hold? Because now there's sell signals here in the MTF, yet this is going higher and higher and higher, okay? Well, if we come over here, we can see, first of all, we got a correlation spike. That always is telling you that something's about to happen, so boom, we got a heads up. But look at this. When you get in an environment like this that's thin and the algos are just owning it, you can see here, here's a short squeeze. Look at the power behind the squeeze, but more importantly, once the power dried up, okay, look how fast this snapped back. And that was what I'm finding in this environment is when you get these low volume markets where the algos go and play their games. Remember, they're like 70+% of the volume in the market right now. You need to know when they're done playing their games, because when they're playing their games, if you're not in a position, just wait, because when they're done, you can kind of step in for the bounce in this case. And this was a huge run in the S&Ps. It was like 20 handles down, 20 handles up. All right, so just a final reminder. The Saturday class for this is going to start tomorrow. And with the class, we're going to go through a couple of bonuses here just so you guys know, because I don't want you to miss out on these. If you're brand new to our site, you're new to options, at 10 o'clock in the morning, we're gonna do an Options 101 class, okay, from 10 to 11. And then at 11 o'clock, I'm going to go and review all of my base setups. You know, this is the squeeze, RAF, you know, all this stuff, just so if you're newer with us, you'll at least get an idea of kind of like, oh, okay, this is the foundation that John uses. These are the different kind of tools that I use and that I like, and why, because they've been developed over, like, say, over 20 years. But also, if you've been with us for a while, these are useful. And I'd encourage you to come early at 11 because it's a good review. All right, it's kind of like, look, this is what I'm using now. You know, because when I'm in the room, I can only show one screen. I've got 8. So it's just showing, like, look, this is all the other stuff that's off screen and stuff like that too. And then at 12, the class will start. And the class is going to talk about kind of what I was just talking about. You know, we're looking at things like correlation. We're looking at things like power behind the move and the squeeze. We're looking at what those kind of credit scalper opportunities are in this market. And if you know, the theme of the market is there are normal setups, and then there are these out-of-the-blue moves. And there are more and more of these out-of-the-blue moves happening, and these are tools that can help us spot them and take advantage of them. So that's kind of the whole idea there. And this does come with what I just kind of call that correlation/spaghetti indicator, okay? And then from there, if you want to also, if you're interested in the live trading, this will include all of this, okay? So you'd get, if by doing this one, you get the Saturday class, you get that indicator, plus the 2 additional indicators, the power behind the squeeze and those credit scalper kind of alerts there. And then the live trading is great. I mean, it's just, and look, if there's no, one question was, well, what happens if there's no setups? We're just going to sit there and stare at the screen. Well, look, if there's not a setup specifically related to this class, we're gonna trade no matter what. There's plenty of setups, whether it's selling premium, you know, doing some shorter term trades. But the goal is that we got to get some practice under our belts with this, with these disciplines in place. And the goal is, you know, trading a one lot to be able to repay the investment in your course, okay, in the course. Can't guarantee that, but that's the goal, and that's what we try to do. So we are looking at it with that eye. And then if you do like live events, this is going to be our annual live event this year in Austin, June 12th and the 13th. If you sign up for that, you get this included, which of course includes that. So anyway, a lot of fun there. Simplertrading.com/spy. For those of you that will be there on Saturday, looking forward to it. Don't worry if you can't be there. It'll be recorded. After you purchase it, you can look at it at your leisure. All right, have a good one, and see you on the other side.